Welcome to Habitly Courses, a production of Manage to Win. Each course is divided into multiple lessons for easy viewing. All are now completely free, so you can watch them on your own or work through them as a team. Please subscribe to this channel, leave a comment, and share your favorite lessons with others. Try to find something that helps you be your best. Welcome to Lesson 3. In this lesson, we're going to talk about the first strand of 3 strands leadership, systematic power. Now that you're out of the matrix, it's time to thrive in the real world. You need to engage and inspire people to be their best. Now let's start by taking a look at your team. According to the Harvard Business Review, more than 100 studies confirm that 80% of employees around the world are not fully engaged. Put that in perspective. What happens if only 20% of the Golden State Warriors give their best in a game against the Cleveland Cavaliers? Do you think Tom Brady can win the Super Bowl with only 20% of the Patriots? NFL teams have a 53-man roster. 20% is only 10.6 players. They wouldn't even be able to field a whole team. 20% engagement is a losing plan. Now let's examine the opposite. According to Gallup, world-class companies have over 90% employee engagement. Gallup gives us a benchmark for top-performing organizations. World-class companies are 5 times better than average organizations. So the question is, how do you and your company stack up? Is your team fully engaged? What about your leadership team? Over the years, I've had a number of clients who share ownership of their companies with partners who are comfortable with average, and it drives them crazy. I advise them how to improve the relationship or end it. One major reason only 20% of employees worldwide are fully engaged is because leaders refuse to make tough decisions. If this is you, then stop serving in a leadership role and go back to being an employee. There's nothing wrong with that. You might even find it more enjoyable. However, if you want to be your best as a leader, you'll need to have a plan. Since 2002, we've studied thousands of excellent organizations and legendary leaders. What we've found are 3 principles underlying the foundation to every winning world-class company. These principles can be hard to see, but if you do them well, I guarantee your organization will be world-class. We call this simple, powerful approach 3 strands leadership. These 3 principles are systematic power, meaningful work, and sincere gratitude. The analogy comes from Ecclesiastes 4:12, which says a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. As a leader, these 3 disciplines or strands combine to enable us to climb any mountain, overcome any obstacle, and achieve virtually any goal. Let's talk about systematic power, the first strand of 3 strands leadership. This is our best practices for decision-making, accountability, and the 4 primary focuses of management: how we hire, manage, develop, and retain top-performing people. A few years ago, I met a businessman. Let's call him Paul. He worked for a very well-respected company with about 3,000 employees. I asked him, "What do you do there?" Paul explained that he was still working for that large company, but one by one, he and his wife had saved and purchased 9 Taco Bell franchises. He said prior to purchasing his first Taco Bell franchise, he expected to bring a lot of business expertise from the big corporation that employed him to Taco Bell. However, after they purchased the first franchise, Paul was surprised to find none of his knowledge was needed. In fact, Taco Bell does such a great job of establishing profitable business practices in their locations that there was virtually nothing Paul could improve. This is an example of systematic power. The systems established by well-run businesses eliminate repetitious mistakes and prevent unnecessary drama. Developing and constantly improving best practice processes clear your path to success. Let's take Toyota as another example. You've probably heard of their famous just-in-time or JIT manufacturing process, often called lean manufacturing today. Developed over a 15-year period in the 1960s and 70s, the just-in-time manufacturing method was drastically different from previous manufacturing approaches. Its primary benefit was reducing costs related to inventory management. The conventional approach required manufacturing companies to hold large amounts of inventory to be prepared for any situation. Hoarding large amounts of unnecessary inventory was seen as normal and preferred. Now referred to as just-in-case manufacturing, it accrued significant expenses related to purchasing, storage, and labor. In contrast, just-in-time manufacturing cut out the waste. It was developed slowly over more than a decade. Just-in-time methods call for parts to be ordered specifically for the task at hand and much closer to the time they were needed. This change sounds simple, but Toyota had to drastically alter their culture to make it work. There was no room for error. Continuous production, flexible resources, high quality, reliable machinery, reliable suppliers, and mutual healthy accountability became the norm. The end result is better products, lower costs, and a world-class company. Whether you're a gordita-eating, Prius-driving kind of person or not, there's no denying that Taco Bell and Toyota are two good examples of systematic power and how systematic power can help your organization to be its best. There are thousands of other examples, but the principle is the same. World-class companies are always developing best practices for decision-making, accountability, and the four primary focuses of management: how we hire, manage, develop, and retain top-performing people. You're probably wondering, well, how can I build systematic power in my company? Well, it can't happen overnight. But you can start by carefully scrutinizing your current activities. Get in the habit of asking pointed questions like, number one, why is this happening? Number two, when does this take place? Number three, where does it occur? 4, who is involved? 5, what's the full explanation of the situation? So I'm avoiding assumptions. Number 6, how can we improve? Assess the current situation and figure out how to achieve better results one step at a time. The result is you can operate faster, easier, and with less risk, and at a lower cost. Every organization has their way of doing things. Unfortunately, too many activities at most organizations are haphazard, where the level of quality varies from person to person, even among leaders. You can do better, but this requires that your company embrace a culture of equal accountability where anyone in your organization can hold someone else accountable to your standards. Let me walk you through the 5 steps to implementing systematic power in your organization. The first step is to look and listen. We just covered this. Great leaders are information gatherers. You need to be comfortable asking open questions to explore issues, to clarify and confirm details. Don't jump to conclusions or judgment. Observe with an open mind. Keep asking questions to move past the symptoms and uncover the true disease causing the problem. Second, once you've identified what appears to be the disease or core problem, you need to work on designing a solution. The best leaders do not fly solo, they engage everyone. So ask people for their candid feedback and ideas. Make it clear that everyone will be heard and respected, even though their ideas may not be chosen. Then work together to assess ideas and map them out. Create a list of action items to get from start to finish. Third, test your solutions. Test or pilot each solution one at a time. Test internally first to gauge the effectiveness of the proposed solution. If it goes poorly, then learn from it and decide whether to try a different approach or discard the idea. If it goes well, try a larger test, perhaps engage a limited number of customers or prospects in a mini trial. Let them put your initial solution through its paces. That's the only way to get real feedback. Actually experiencing a feature of your new product, service, or process uncovers its true strengths and weaknesses. Fourth, set your standards. Take the successful solutions and turn them into standards for your company to live by. These standards may be new products or services. They might also be new values or principles, a type of rules of engagement perhaps, or they may simply be standardized best practice procedures. The bottom line is everyone in your organization operates based on the same best practices. Your people should be familiar, if not experts, with your products and services. Plus, be taught how to consistently follow your best practice processes with excellence. Fifth, and finally, everyone must be held accountable, including you, the leaders. From the CEO all the way down to the intern performing the simplest duties, everyone can respectfully hold each other accountable to the same standards. Track the metrics of your solutions and processes to recognize and encourage excellence or improvement. When something fails to meet your standards, then empathetically start asking questions and developing answers. When standards are not being met, it's everyone's job to address the problem and correct it. Here are the steps again. You'll notice step 5 isn't the end. It's the beginning of step 1. Being accountable means anytime something fails to meet your standards, you return to step 1 of systematic power and repeat the process. It's a continuous cycle that never ends because needs, people, circumstances, and performance levels constantly change. Why is systematic power number 1 in 3 strands leadership? Because you can have the best intentions. You can be the smartest person in the room. You can have the most money, but you're never going to be your best if you're inconsistent, if you don't apply what you learn, and you don't extend your wisdom through others. Systematic power changes all of that, but it starts with you and your leaders and then extends through the rest of your organization. In lesson 4, we're going to cover the second strand of 3 strands leadership, meaningful work. But first, conclude this lesson by taking the online exam. Next, I suggest you consider where you can apply systematic power in your organization today, or maybe just start with yourself. Make a list. It can be a long list. Prioritize the list, and then start by attacking the first most important action you can take that's going to bring about a positive impact. When you're done with that, go to the second. And then once you've taken the exam, you got your list, you're starting to apply things, proceed to the next lesson.